Welcome to the Open RuneScape Classic podcast. Today we're featuring something a little different. We're going to talk about the 2001Scape project that Luis has been working diligently on, and today is a sneak peek at some of the progress. So this is the mudclient 40, which right now most people are aware of the mudclient 204, 202, which is the common one for private servers. And by the end, at the closure of RSC in 2018, it was running 235. We're running around 233 compatibility right now at this point. There's minimal changes to 235. So the server can accept 233 and above for that compatibility aspect. That's what RSC Plus has. And so from this case, we're running the modified version of the server to accept the mudclient 40 and 38. So here we are with the client, and it just simply presents you a login, a username and password. So I've created a test account, which has just the basic stuff. It is an administrator of the server, but it doesn't currently show that in the client. So at login, it will show you your currently listed friends, your levels and skills. If you'll notice, there's a number of changes here that the older client only had. Listed skills. Quest points. It doesn't say influence, it does say quest points. Magic. There's some of the different spells. Shock Bolt, Elemental Bolt, Fear. Thick Skin, Chill Bolt.
Chill Bolt is new.
Confuse. There aren't any prayers listed right now, but the evil magic, good magic, pray evil, pray good. Those are elements of the original game. You have the ability to switch your player type. So, where you want to go in PK mode? Heck yeah. You can only do it twice. Right now it doesn't switch, but that'll be coming in the future there. Mouse buttons won't toggle. It keeps going back to 1. That's the one limitation currently, but it will let you switch the angle of the camera. And certainly down at the bottom you have the FPS counter, which was the part of the original client. The minimap. Some of the textures are different, the sprites. So some of these runes have more of a degraded look, it appears, just in their overall sprite. The book, the Shield of Erev book, you can read it. It was one of those early quests, but the picture, the sprite image of the book is different in the inventory. If you want to read it, you can. It's a long read, or you can drop the book. It still shows in the inventory, however, it's not there. You have to do a log out and log back in to refresh it. It'll be something in the server that'll have to do it.
But I believe Luis is currently trying to fix that bug.
Yeah. So you have other runes. A life rune, but it doesn't have a sprite image. That came later. The death rune, of course. But then when we get into the blood rune and some of the others, they aren't that way. They are the illusion rune. The chaos rune. The law rune. The time rune. I think this was the nature rune, but it shows as time rune as the original one. So it's never implemented for how to use, but they were thinking about it. Soul rune, reality rune, cosmic rune. And then, of course, the two different keys for the Phoenix King and their weapon store. The scroll, some water, just spawn that. And wielding currently has an overlay issue, but in theory, you're holding the weapon. If you want to chop the tree, it is a limitation. You can't just do that. It's not currently functional. But if you do have in your inventory a log, you can set it on fire with the tinderbox. That does work currently. The ability to zoom in and out is not in this client. You can't use the mouse wheel or the page down or page up keys. It is limited in that. It does not resize. But there's a interesting little thing here that was built into the client. Instead of doing the old command with the two uh, colons followed by whatever command, such as say or item or teleport, this client, even without being an admin, you could just simply type tell and the username. So you could say tell shark, hey Andrew, and so you could either do click their name and type it or that. You can't do the $sign, at least in this dialog instance. So global with the $sign for the global friend, can't do it. Can't add it. But using tell global $sign, hey, you've been hacked, it works. So if you had another client going that was compatible with the server, such as the other standard client, which will work running on the 204 version of the client, and certainly it will load all the items, the commands, and that's how I was able to kind of set up this player just to get in and working. It's running actually on a cabbage database, but the server, being that it only can render certain items, I haven't spawned them, and it's not running any extra skills or functions. The server is only doing what the config allows it, which is nice how we have the modular setup. But outside of those items, you can talk to some NPCs, but you can't attack them. That's not built in. And many of the examinations do not work. We were checking out the Wizard's Tower a few minutes ago, and I'll bring it up there. There's a couple unique items, well, more like unique NPCs that are interesting to see the difference of.
I didn't know there were differences in the NPCs.
So such as the demon. So,
interesting.
We can climb down the ladder first. And take a peek.
It is interesting how much is the exact same though too.
Check out this. Because I think the layout is slightly different down here. The server thinks the NPCs may roam, but the client can only render what the landscape in the client cache supports. Maybe that's totally wrong. Maybe this is the way it looks. A little skeleton.
Yeah, I think that's how it looks. I don't know why that wizard is there.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Maybe he's part of the, since this is on cabbage config, he could be a rune crafting wizard.
That would be
I'm not familiar with cabbage, though.
Yes, I think that's the case. Some of the other items in here you can't really get much out of, but the skull on the floor still says the same. You can climb up the ladder and go up to the topmost floor. You can't sleep in the beds, they won't let you. There's nothing. Fatigue didn't exist at that point. All the different wizards are here. You can't really get anything out of the dialogues. But, one of the wizards even managed to walk in, so perhaps there is something else going on. You log out, you log in, and the NPCs have moved, and their copy is still there in the client. That might be what we're seeing, a ghost of the NPC. But this demon right here, it's level 26. Unlike the updated version of it. And if you look real closely, you see the eyes of the NPCs. They have pupils. They have whites around their eyes. Even our player. Look at those beady eyes.
Like all the rendering bugs that are in the final game are also in this version. Log was saying earlier that there's a rendering bug that's in the final version, though, that's not in this game.
I haven't actually tested this client for more than 8 hours, but yeah, they didn't fully keep everything good when they made changes, and they introduced a bug that will stop rendering half the landscape after like 6 to 8 hours. I think it's caused by some different timer function that overflows some array. We have it like partially fixed in RSC Plus. It's like a little bit better than it used to be, but I still get it rarely. so I don't know the full extent of what causes it.
This is interesting. The bank did not exist in Draenor at the point.
Yeah, not for a while, and actually on release, Draenor itself did not exist.
So you have the buildings of the landscape, but the NPCs and the objects, those are only there because the server knows that they should be there. The landscape and the client that we're looking at authentically was used to look like this. If I can walk out here, I have to exit the bank. There we go. So we have this little square in the market, or whatever this may have been. Aggie.
He's there because of the server.
Yeah.
Well, she might have been there in 2001. We don't know.
Old Ned.
I believe so.
Leela's there. I wouldn't be surprised if we had the ability to get into Alcarid rapidly. That the cow would be in there.
When was Alcred added?
It was added on January 19th of 2001, and Prince Ali Rescue was not long after. Prince Ali Rescue will be in mudclient 40.
Yep. Even the NPC, when you examined it, Leela said she's from Alcarid. So I think the manor is all there. Let's go all the way to the west. See the end of the world. Land of the cabbages. Yuck, I don't like cabbage. Chickens. Oh, while we're going by, we can check out the ports of Rim, see how those boats look, as I think some of those came much later. Yep, here's a missing building. Much smaller. There's no jail. There isn't a boat right here for the Lady of the Sea, or whatever the name of that boat was. Dragon's
It's weird
Lair.
how much of it does line up, though.
We just have man.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm surprised by that.
They really didn't change very much, did they? Like, clearly they changed some. Like, there's missing dock down there, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no Intrana. You can check out the jail and see how that looks. Nope, no jail. Some sort of a long...
Literally a missing building.
This path makes a lot more sense without the jail being there,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like interrupted when the jail gets put there and they didn't bother to fix it. But now it's like a complete path in this version.
Here we are in Remington.
Surprised Remington is this old.
They were talking about Remington being the new Lumbridge in that it is where you would start your game, but they ended up not going with that.
Hey,
I'm
there's
glad they
the ocean.
did that. Lumbridge is too iconic to start your game at.
We're talking like very early they've had that idea, so we would have thought Remington was like iconic.
There.
Wow, right here at the edge of the world.
Yeah,
Like, they
that's
literally ripped some stuff out.
very interesting.
It's like the sector was only partially constructed and then abruptly halted.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going past where the maze eventually was built.
Yep. That's cool that the field existed there.
They probably had the same spawns too.
Yep.
Crafting guild.
All the scenery from the crafting guild just goes into the water.
And here's that fence. Let's see what's a little north. Oh, there's a little building.
Is it the Fally fence? No, that can't be.
It is.
It is? Oh.
There's the Faldor Castle.
They must have added Fally really early, didn't they?
April. Yeah, Asgarnia released April 6th.
Guards, White Knights. Wow, that's a bank. Oh, no, it's not. They moved. Is this player?
Yeah, bank. There is still a bank, but not here. It's on the other side. I think that was December 2001, maybe, that they added that second bank.
The house?
With the wrong objects in it. Apartment complex, probably?
Player-owned houses? No, that'd be rock. Doesn't let me go any more forward due to the landscape. This looks like the player-owned houses. It is.
Yeah, it's player-owned houses of Palador, a smaller group scene. They were
There were
expanding.
more of them originally, apparently.
Yeah.
Note that there's not an entrance to the Dwarven mine here.
Nope.
That would not be added for a while, actually.
Right around here, and it's the old
Yeah.
Rune Rocks. Version 1 of OpenRSC had Rune Rocks right there.
Shake my head. I do think the walls in this building are cool. They should have kept those.
If we keep going west, we'll see what the other side of Falador looks like. There's the park.
Yep. It was moved, apparently. Because I think some of those scenery in the player-owned homes right there, I think those are park scenery.
No, they have a different house there. It has like a round table in it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So
Yeah.
the park is the exact same then.
The park looks the same to me, except it's missing the... No, there is a bench. Okay. I was going to say the Pirate's Treasure bench isn't there, but it is. Are there the... Well, I can't ask if the treasure flowers are behind it, but I think they are, or would have been.
Interesting.
There's a bed.
Yeah, I can't
Yep.
do anything with them.
I know.
It's a bed.
Wow.
I remember feeling disappointed when I first started playing that the beds didn't do anything. And then they added fatigue. And then I wish the beds didn't do anything again.
That's pretty funny.
You see the bank on the other side.
It looks like it's in the exact same place as it is in the final game.
Yeah,
It just may have a different design.
this little building behind it.
And there's like a ocean right behind it.
Yeah, this is
Like
different.
literally right behind the bank.
It's pretty cool, actually. I like Falador being a coastal city.
I don't think that was ever their intention.
Well, there it is. It's a coastal city.
Right, but I don't think that was their intention.
Yeah, I know, but it's cool anyway.
I think we need to introduce horseback riding into mudclient 40.
That was the one condition that Andrew Gower had when he sold Jagex, that they never add mounts.
What was the name of that one game that was like contemporary to RuneScape Classic, but it came
Diablo?
after? It was so much worse.
Tibia?
But it. Which one?
Diablo, Tibia.
No, it definitely wasn't Diablo. 100% wasn't Diablo. They had like horses and like it was a much worse game. But like the only reason
Dark
it like
Souls.
even keeps to mind for me is because it had horses. It was like ogre something.
Hmm.
Like I know it had ogre in the name.
It just says a dwarven smith. Or Doric.
Also, those examine texts are client sided, so we're getting the original
Yeah.
2001 examine text.
Let's see the Goblin Village.
This looks the same. However, it's gonna stop. Yep, now it stops being the same. Well,
Yeah, it's
that's
close, just a
mostly
little.
the same. Yeah, close.
So I'm gonna briefly switch clients to teleport myself into Varrock.
I don't think they ever changed
Alright.
this game's rendering from the day they released it.
Varrock with a camel.
Oh, it's a camel.
They must have changed an NPC's ID at some
Yes.
point.
There's a
That
few
Shillip?
of them.
I bet that's Shillip.
Yes.
Yeah, so actually, like, what they did was they handled, like, weird cases of ID that's authentic. Like,
Mhm.
like it takes less bits, so that's what going with those NPCs.
No bank.
Like, if they are greater, like instead of crashing, it places another NPC, and that's the client.
90% of the uh, existing terrain is the
And
same
yeah,
though.
that's the part of the player own houses that you need to teleport.
Mm. Yeah, I'll switch to the other client. So I can just walk over the border here. Alright. We're breaking the law, we're in the illegal area.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
Oh, lots of little houses here. Doesn't really want to keep walking though. Me.
You're hitting the fence.
Yeah, I'll jump the other
Yeah,
side of the fence.
yeah, probably is in defense of the site.
Some long buildings. See if I can get inside of one of these.
It's got to be enough for everyone.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the purpose of these walls were.
That's like a reception area, and then you get into the main meeting hall for the clan. Wow, look at how many apartments there are.
Yes, 3 stories.
Wow.
You could go up like floors and see what it looked like on the second floor there.
I don't know if we have a go up
Yeah,
command.
that would be a good one if you could go,
You're
like,
not gonna be
just
able to walk
teleport
around at
yourself.
all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Teleport yourself 944 south.
Let's see, my chords are 74, 478. XY. So is it minus 944Y?
It's
plus.
plus.
Oh, plus. So chords 74, 478 plus
Ogre Island, that was the name of the
944.
horrible RuneScape Classic clone that I was thinking of. In my opinion, it was a bad game. And the only reason I remembered it is because it was RuneScape Classic but with horses.
Oh wow, that's awesome. There is a second floor, and I guess these would have been the starter homes, your little apartment.
Yeah, you would literally get a little apartment,
That's so cute. I love it.
like a 3x5 apartment.
It's awesome. I didn't know about that.
All right, I've teleported what I think is the third floor.
Oh my god, I would love to like say I own apartment 309. That's great.
So I need to go slightly to the
Well, there's
west.
still only like 200 houses.
So let's see. TP 70 to 360. Try that.
It looks like there's enough though. That's like pretty good.
Ah, gotta go 66.
You can
That
see
was
where the
definitely
ladders
not
are.
enough.
You can see where the ladders would have been because the black square.
Yep.
So we can save that.
All right, I should be now standing in the correct location. Yes.
Success.
I'm surprised that you can walk around, because shouldn't the server
Yeah,
be dictating collision?
it should be.
The server doesn't collide outside of it, or it shouldn't anyway. As long as there's something there, it can walk around.
Is that a 3x3? I think those are actually 3x3 apartments.
Yeah, a little 3x3, tiny cute apartment. I love it.
It's like, what can you put in there? You can't even put a bed. Why would you want these player-owned homes?
I would definitely want that player-owned home.
You
Okay,
can
so
sell
this
a
is before
key.
banks. This is before banks, and one of the there's two things I've heard. First of all, camels in Al Kharid were originally thought that you might be able to like store things on the camel, right? That's before banks, but also these player-owned homes would have been a type of bank to store your
Oh.
items.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Like a chest in there that belongs to you or something.
yeah. In the end, we ended up getting safety deposit boxes where you can just store any item in the bank. But those were two previous conceptions.
This is Al Kharid. No bank.
No bank.
There's a castle. And a camel. I'm gonna have to walk outside of the bank's open path. Okay,
What's that NA?
where?
Why did that happen?
Yeah, probably that is coming from the cache. So probably like they didn't come like what to say, so they just put either NA or the underscore. Like it was common of them.
So the guards made it happen somehow?
I think I tried to attack one of them.
No, it's like with the ID, like so some were like not there present.
It's a bronze mace.
Yeah.
I wonder if our cow friend will be in a building or not.
Isn't that the cow that like used to run through walls back in like version 2.1 or something?
Building's still there for the cow.
It would just slightly move.
That's Louis legs.
He might want to sell something.
Oh,
Maybe.
it's in the exact same position.
Guy.
So much of this game is the exact same. It's wild.
So I'm wondering about the little mine with the scorpions up north.
Scorpion pit.
Do you know that was added at some point? I just don't remember when.
Mm.
Breaking the law. Breaking the law.
Did you have to change the server at all to get this to run?
Yeah, he changed it a lot.
Yeah. Luis
Yeah.
had to add a abstraction layer to the network protocol, and he also had to add in handlers for this version of the client's protocol.
Eventually, we'll get all the more. Let's not say all of them, but let's say more. We'll get 204 support, so you don't have to update your 204 bot at all or
Yeah,
clients.
like 204 and 177 would
Yeah.
two
With
interesting
the
ones to have.
abstraction layer like we have for database, it'll be much easier to support.
Yeah,
different protocols.
you just have to exactly on the payload, but the logic is all there.
All the same rendering bugs in 235. I
Even the
can't get over
graveyard.
that.
But most of the constants were the same.
Which
Yeah,
constant?
like
For the packets.
the payload I think is similar. Maybe the strings change, but and you only define what's the opcode for the generator and the parser, and it works.
Lumbridge is basically the exact same.
The old
Kansas.
arrows.
Yeah. Wow. They look so much
Different
better.
sprite.
I like them. They're
Yeah,
short, but they look nice.
they actually, and yeah, look back
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Still some bugs that need to be worked out.
Oh, handcrafted arrows. I want arrows like that. That's so cool. They look like darts.
yeah.
They do. Oh, and the bank is not here in mudclient 40. How
The
surprising!
ladder moved.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ladder move. That actually is surprising.
What's the cook doing upstairs? It's an NPC missing.
Probably NPC ID changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the bronze dagger. Looks the same. Let's see what happens when we wield it, though. If it'll be a
Crash.
ghost or not. Nope, we have an apron. Here's the ghost.
Are we doing RSC rando?
No,
Where you get a random sprite every time you wield an item?
yeah, probably some mismatch in
RSC rando, I like it.
Wow, even the position.
yeah, because of is in the correct position. That's why.
That's interesting that we have different animation IDs.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Didn't maintain those.
yeah.
They didn't maintain very many IDs. I think scenery is probably the one that they've maintained the most.
Yeah, sceneries
I don't
and
see anything except the animation
generally.
IDs.
Some NPCs shifted, like the camel and Varrock. The cook and the upstairs Lumbridge
That
Castle.
camel's fine. The camel and Alcarid is fine. It's just I think it's going.
The camel and Varrock.
That's because that's Shillip though, and Shillip doesn't exist in 2001.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. They didn't keep the IDs.
Well,
they didn't
well, they
reserve the ID and just increment it. That's all.
Well,
I'm
they
saying.
didn't reserve it.
Maybe it's rolling over.
But the ones that existed kept their IDs.
Yeah.
The ones that
probably.
existed, yeah, but normally you would reserve the ID and just skip it forever now.
That would have been very forward thinking of them. I would really expect it to crash, to go out of bounds and crash.
True.
I think it's just rolling over.
It could be. It could be.
less bits that they read in the client, so it's doing the with all IDs.
It's the
And
NPC ID 1 byte, Luis.
like I was saying, for server index, there are two bits less. That's why.
2 bits less. That could be why. You might be right, Wolfie.
That's why when you try to talk to or attack, it doesn't match the server index. Well, if you're lucky, it matches on the preservation config, But other
Mudclient
than that,
40 doesn't have Isaac, right?
yeah, it doesn't. Like even 177 is fortunate to not have Isaac.
Check out
Like
Ghost Town.
yeah, yeah,
It's
They repurposed the bank.
mostly the same. Yeah, there was a building in its place though.
yeah. It was a building. There wasn't some bank. It was
I
some
don't think
other.
we have any insight into what that building used to be, but
Yeah, like we have the scenery, but I think there was nothing much of interest there.
we have the scenery on the client side for
Yeah,
Mudclient 40.
yeah, yeah. The NPC locations and the sceneries
That's
and
huge, actually.
and the ground items, all those three are
I didn't
there.
know we had the scenery and all that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. The only ones that are missing are the boundaries,
Uh-huh.
but other than that, the other three are there.
That's
I guess.
cool. So we'll be able to like
Yeah,
reconstruct almost all of it
yeah,
then. Except
yeah.
for like ground item spawns, right? We're not gonna have that.
Well, the ground items are there as well. Grand items, sceneries,
Oh, so it is in
uh,
there.
yeah,
Interesting.
and NPCs.
He stopped
So
like yeah, he stopped updating it after a while, but if it's like they were in there for a bit.
Arrows.
Yeah,
There's no
I don't know
north.
why he put them in there.
I wonder if there was any like late 2003 clients that might have had that.
Um, probably not. I
yeah,
think
yeah. I don't think.
I think not. But even in 235, they have like just a small section of ground items and stuff that they have in the client, so that they can display it in the scenery changes on the login screen. So when you're looking at the login screen, it has like the
Right.
picture of the goblin house, and it's got a table in it. It's got
Right.
trees, and those locations are still in the client, but no other ones.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I've always loved that about the client, by the way, that they just showed you the game.
Oh wow, it has
yeah.
color.
So weird because they could have just used a static image, I think, but
And
they
no, they
instead
rendered it. Yeah.
they render the game and go through like this process of like loading objects and everything in a special way just to do it. Very strange.
There's the breast.
I guess it makes sense though, actually, because of the constraints of like how big the file could be. He probably didn't want to include a giant image. Not something that you would see in a modern game.
Right. Downloading 56K.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to remember that was 2001 and most people had 56K.
5 megabit cache.
Constraints we don't have to think about anymore.
Yeah, that's not even like on your radar.
Not
What's
even
a
on
PNG?
the radar.
100K?
Have like, look at how well this image would compress. It would be so small, but still, you gotta save every byte.
But that 100K that it might compress down to, I mean, that would be what?
It would like triple the
30
size of the client.
seconds?
Yeah.
30 seconds to download on 56K? Probably
Well,
more because 56K is never like 56K.
yeah. There's that time, and then there's also the server would have to host and like add bandwidth.
Right, just to exchange this one picture that they could have rendered anyway.
Right.
Destroyed buildings.
Are those like raggedy walls in the final game?
No,
I haven't
don't
seen
think
them.
they're even there.
I've always seen them in the cache, but I've never seen them used. Maybe the
Okay,
wilderness.
so they are in the cache.
Are
I've got
those
no.
not the same walls that are used in that one random building in Varrock by the bum? Or are
Hmm.
those
No.
different?
Well, we're
You
talking
might
about
be
like
right.
top of the wall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the top of the wall is like all jaggedy.
I thought you just meant the texture. Okay.
The texture is used, and you're right, it is right next to that bum. But the top of the wall, I don't recall.
I always wonder what
But
it's
it's in the
for.
cache, which that's kind of cool that it's still in the cache in the final game. Also, it is still funny to see like right at the edge of Varrock is just a cliff and ocean.
Yeah. A lot more beachfront properties in this version.
If that's your thing.
Then we get to this wall.
There's the scenery for Lucian's house.
Oh, he became a Black Knight, which is appropriate.
That is appropriate.
Or actually, that's probably the Black Knight that was there anyway.
Yeah, there's no description.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm surprised he's not crashing the game.
Oh, the only thing that crashes is if I cast a spell on an NPC.
Yeah, that is like coming from the decoder. I think I need to look into that part. I haven't tried
Mm-hmm.
on this spell, but that is probably like the only major thing right now.
I wonder what spells were actually implemented in mudclient 40.
Well, like probably all of them. Like I think there's the Finnish site that says that some did damage, like the bots they
Okay.
worked. Fear like supposedly it worked to steal the NPC from someone.
Mm-hmm. I like how rock
Um,
scan and thick scan are magic rather than prayers.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so like those like you will cast on yourself and like you couldn't boost until like it expired. So it was like you had to be to normal again to cast the spell, otherwise it wouldn't work. So that's how it has been explained.
The placement of the bow, that's funny.
Yeah, that one is a funny bug of the equipping.
Well, I think we've explored just about all of the world on my client 40.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, I'll go ahead and cease the recording here.